a sheriff's deputy decided to basically write something extremely insane about Ahmaud Arbery. Remember now, this is a cop. A Georgia sheriff's deputy in Middle Georgia has been suspended without pay, pending termination, after calling murder victim Ahmaud Arbery a criminal on social media. In addition to labeling the slain jogger and young man as a criminal, he is accused of writing, "He still got the death penalty." Now, let me show you the graphic. Let me show you his social media graphic along with his picture, okay? Paul Ernan said, and I quote, "That criminal Arbery still got the death penalty though." That's what he said. He has been suspended. Now, there are many who are actually defending him. There are many who are saying, well, does he not have the freedom of speech? What happened to freedom of speech in America? I'm going to break all of that down. I'm going to break it all down. So you have a police officer who is supposed to be on the side of what? The administration of justice. They are law enforcement agents. They are supposed to stand up for justice. In this case, as tragic as it was, at the end of that trial, justice was served. The people who committed murder were arrested. They were tried by their peers, due process in play, and they were convicted by a jury of their peers. Law enforcement agents should be okay with the process of law enforcement, right? Not when it doesn't fit their narrative. When it does not fit their narrative, they are now antithetical, adversarial, opposite of law enforcement, especially when you have a white man who kills a young black guy. All of a sudden, law enforcement is not law enforcement, it's whatever your opinion is. So let me take you to Houston County. Houston County Deputy Paul Erhan commented on the Macon Outlet's Facebook post, Macon is a city in Middle Georgia, about the recent sentencing of Arbery's killers, Travis McMichael, Gregory McMichael, and William Bryan. The deputy replied, "That criminal Arbery still got the death penalty though." Now, remember, this was an active deputy, policing, using taxpayer dollars, likely discriminating against other people of color, okay? January 7th, those 3 men were handed down life sentences for their roles in the 25-year-old's death. The McMichaels both received life sentences with no possibility of parole, plus an additional 20 years. Bryan, a McMichael's neighbor, was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 30 years. And the way he looks, he's gonna die in prison himself. So all of them are gonna die in prison. Judge Timothy Walmsley, who was a stand-up judge, last of a dying breed, stated at sentencing, Ahmaud Arbery was then hunted down and shot, and he was killed because individuals here in this courtroom took the law into their own hands. Despite deleting the comment, back to the deputy, despite deleting the comment, screenshots have been shared across social media, landing in the Houston County Sheriff's Office. Over the weekend, the Sheriff's Office launched an investigation, and on the morning of Monday, January 10th, decided to suspend Erhan without pay, pending termination. Now, once again, remember when I told you that there are people saying, wait a minute, this deputy has freedom of speech. I may not agree with what he said. You know how they try to contextualize their racism, but he does have the freedom to have his opinion. No, he doesn't. Let me bring you to the code of conduct for Houston County deputies. Page 5, 4A is what he signed for employment. Page 5, 4A says, an officer must at all times, on and off duty, conduct himself, herself in a manner which does not bring discredit to the department or county. He signed it. This is what he signed per employment with the county. He also signed page 5, 4B. Page 5, 4B says, conduct unbecoming of an officer shall include that conduct which has a tendency to destroy public respect for employees and confidence in the department. Boom, he signed that. Get him the hell up out of here. We're talking about we need to wait on his termination. He should have been terminated on the spot. As I said, some believe that his freedom of speech had been violated. The man has a right to his opinion. Why should some people be denied their right to express themselves because they work in certain areas, wrote Will Maddox, who is a supporter of this deputy who will soon be fired. Here's the reality. Certain jobs, government or non-government, when you get hired, you sign a document. That document is your contract. It says, here are the rules for this agency. You agree to those rules. You put your signature there. It's your employee handbook. When you violate it, it can be grounds for termination, period. It's amazing to me that individuals who are in the job of enforcing responsibility don't want it. Senator, what are your thoughts here?
The people who are defending this deputy are conflating the issues. One of these things don't belong. That is what is going on. And so he will have the opportunity to have real freedom of speech in a little bit.
Right.
And when he gets fired, he can be out there free and be free and give all the speeches that he wants to. I, for one, would want this department to investigate any and all arrests that he was involved in, because it is very clear that he has a bias against Black people and maybe other people of color, maybe other groups as well. But it's clear in this case that there is a bias. And what do you always say, Doc? Culture trumps policy every single time. And this is what this is about. He's not the only one. That's right. In that department.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. We're going to continue to follow it, but you're right. They need to start looking at some of his other arrests, especially if the only witness was him and the defendant happened to be a person of color.